Welcome to the July.
Okay, quiet.
Welcome to the July 2024 meeting of the Milwaukee area wood chipper. Great crowd. It's good to see all of you. We have a number of things on the agenda tonight, so we're going to modify our typical agenda just a little bit, which we'll talk about in a minute. And George is going to give us a treasury and membership report.
Okay, treasury, $10,069.98. And we will have demo next month. We have to pay for it. And we have 132 members. We have 2 sign up. Tonight and last week. And Greg Whimsy, Greg.
All right.
Yeah. 3 guests tonight. Jim, Nor, Mark, Nordhaus.
Repeat what you said.
And this one brings us into
Yeah, Candace.
Candy Strong. Who's gonna talk about?
All right.
Buying them free or contact space.
All right.
Yeah, 113 members.
All right, go down to upper left.
All right.
Keep hitting
I don't
my.
really have any announcements. Well, I said that. Bob, were you gonna talk about Turn On Chicago?
Oh, now that you mention it. What's it, 1 month from now, Turn On Chicago, our biannual,
Yeah. Okay.
turning demonstration with a good rotations, demonstrator, Stuart Batty, Ferrara, no, Greg, the Lego, Scott Shell. Like them, Nicolay, but anyway, it's well worth your time, it's driving distance, it's out on 94, 294 to go up on Willow Road. 2 miles west, and you're right there at the hotel.
The sound buttons up on front.
From
Push it.
all points of north here,
Button.
well worth it, there you go, I don't know what the, what the entrance,
I don't even.
right now, but, I'll be there in the better booth, which is not mine. But, good, a lot of vendors will be there. Well, we're going to, stop up here.
Brochures on the table, right?
Yeah.
Can you see us?
Free for the taking.
So we mentioned Keith Gottschall. We had Keith as an online demo 2 months ago, is that right?
No.
Greg Galagos, and I know I'm butchering my last name. He'll be our demonstrator next month here, live in person. The plan is for him to swing up here the day after Turn On Chicago is done. Who else? You mentioned, we've been trying to get a hold of Stuart Batty. And maybe there you go. Go down there and call her. Get the lion in the den.
So, give me there and force and cover wood with 149 rules and doubts. These elevators will,
There you go. All right. So we're gonna skip the wood raffle tonight. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to show and tell. And I would ask you that if you do have a show and tell item, you have multiple items, bring your best item up and talk about it. I actually think there's less than what it looks like up there. So if you have a show and tell item, come on up and let's do that. So where do you want the show and tell person made? Got this, like,
Yeah.
Nobody has a show and tell.
So a little, pole. It's a piece of, mulberry from my neighbor. Tacked away, just a little natural edge, funny little shape. It's Vermont or it's New Hampshire. Point of view, anyway, real pretty piece of wood. I really love working with mulberries, never disappoints me.
These are just a few of the empty bowls that I brought. The club now has two plastic bowls, one here and one over there. So when you bring in empty bowls,
Can you hear the
put
guy?
them in the bowls. Our name's on there, we know what it's for, these are all due by the end of September, so we need the September meeting. Maybe the April meeting, maybe the last, well, these are the two of the quick little polls that I've heard.
Good thing that Bob around there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you might think that this is all flat work, but I did turn this knob. This is a Be the Courage vessel that, I'm gonna be delivering on the 25th of this month to Children's Hospital. There's a whole bunch of boxes there that I'm also delivering for the kind of deal. And there are, if you get a chance, take a look at the vessels, the segmented vessels that were done by just someone who contacted the club because he made these for Be the Courage, Tom Christensen, he lives up in York County. And they are quite spectacular, and he donated all these, for Be the Courage, now he's delivering them. So, thank you.
These are a couple of my attempts, last time. Thank you to whoever donated the honey locusts next year, last month. This is what's left of it. It started out to be a taller base. And halfway through getting started and turning, it ended up with a split in the sides and it kept getting larger and larger. So I decided to cut it in half and salvage part of it. You can still see there's a little split in here. So I'm not like some of the other guys doing things thin, so my stuff is still a little thick. I'm just looking at the overall shape of it going for it. So it finished very nice. And this is another, and I should say, this was a problem piece. Now it's a split at the beginning. But after it was all done and I was trying to take the tendon off the back, it decided to exit the thing once, but twice. So I had to keep reworking it each time, but it did survive. And this was another small piece, it's applewood, was sort of a limb that had distorted itself totally. It was it is a vase, but when I got started and got it almost complete, I didn't like the proportions, so I cut it off. And the grain was so unique that I had to see it. I couldn't throw it in the burning pile. And then I purposely sloped the inside down instead of hollowing out so that you could see the grain. It was very interesting. So I tried to salvage it. So that's my change. I salvage my projects.
My name's Gary, I'm pretty new to turning, just started months ago. When we went to the robust slave convention, they were talking about the wig stands. And being that my wife had cancer herself, I thought it was a pretty good thing. She didn't wear a wig, but pretty, it was a pretty good idea. So I thought I'd learn how to turn some spindles and somewhat of a bowl or whatever, and so I made 8 different kinds over here. I made 15 of them now for for, the Pewaukee Cancer Center. And, that's all I've got to say. No argument in turn, because it kept on shattering, and I don't have a steady rest, so sandpaper to deal with, you know.
That's, well, they're blowing up, so a little one, so I can put it. All right, no, really. I will wait, because I'm trying to finish this, I put the bottom off. Oh. But freshly off the way.
Wow.
Before and after, move it up and that turn. Kind of the same sort of deal. Rhombuses, there's 30 rhombuses with mahogany.
Okay, that's it for show and tell. So, the first speaker this evening is Candace Strong. Candace, you ready?
Right.
And Candace is with Burn for Troops, and she's got goodness troops, the new troops are in there somewhere. So, there's, go for it. Thank you.
Right. The thing bend down for us 410 people. All right. I'm Candace Strong, Executive Director at Christian's Troops Cancer Connection. Has anybody in here heard of us before? I know for sure one, a few. So we provide cancer support to people throughout Southeast Wisconsin, focused on Waukesha County and our bordering counties. And I will explain what we do, but I think it's important to understand how we got started. So it was my sister Tricia Wright that started the organization in 2011. At the time, she was going through stage 4 colon cancer, 35 years young. Her daughters were 2 and 7 at the time. And really when she was diagnosed, she was going, it was not good. And so she had a successful surgery. And while they were going through it, her family, her and her husband really just felt like they were getting called to do something special with what they were going through. She was a nurse, he was in business, and I was in nonprofit work at that time. And so we really felt like we're going through this thing so that we can help others behind us. And so while she was going through treatment, we decided to open a nonprofit cancer support organization. When we first started, we just started doing like flower bouquets to people first starting treatment, and then started doing financial assistance for people. She passed away in 2012, shortly after we opened, and then I took it over full time from there. So since then, we've served more than 5,000 cancer fighters and their families throughout Southeast Wisconsin. So like last year, we have like a annual report that we put out there. We served people as young as 2 through 86 last year. Average age about 54. We serve all cancers, all cancer types, all the ages, stages. Really just kind of focusing on the non-medical daily living needs and experiences and challenges that people face. So we did over $100,000 in direct financial assistance alone. And a couple of years ago, not this past January, but the one before, we were able to move into a new location. We went from 900 square feet to 2,700 square feet. It had been kind of placed in my heart to be doing not just the financial stuff, but really like the things that people can be doing proactively to be giving themselves hope every day. As far as we got a grant for doing yoga, workouts, nutrition stuff, support groups, all these different kind of ways that people can really feel empowered to take control of what they can control when they're going through it. And so once we got this new building that we have, which is by the Smiley Barn in Delafield, everyone familiar with the Smiley Barn? We are in the same parking lot, just to the right of the Smiley Barn. And so one of the areas that we have in our building is a place for wigs. And where that came from is that when my sister was going through treatment, you know, her kids were were little, they had a hard time watching her lose her hair. So we had to go in and get her fitted for a wig. And it was in a space, a store, that was just open to the public, and there was no compassion, no understanding, no privacy. It was, we had to laugh about it or you'd cry. And I always thought in my head, once we get this thing established and we have the ability to continue different services, that was one thing that I really wanted to do so that people didn't have to go through what we did. And so now in the space that we have a private room for wig fittings, which is amazing. We've got a volunteer that comes out from Greenfield. She's been doing a wig specialist for the past 20 years. So we've got someone that gives up her time to do the wig fittings and helping make selections and showing them how to deal with their wigs and take care of their wigs. And then it's offered free of charge to women going through it. And so I don't even know how Jay Pilling came to know about us. Jay, are you here? I know Jay's here. Do you recall how you heard about us?
Well, through Freighter.
Through Freighter.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So we work out with all the different cancer centers. When they have someone who needs a wig, they'll send them to us. And he came up with the idea. I know you guys have maybe been doing it elsewhere of offering these wig stands for the women that receive our wigs. They get a wig shampoo, a wig cap. They can have one of these stands. And they're able to leave there more empowered than when they walked in. And just a real quick story. We had a woman probably in her upper 40s come in, late stage cancer, and she was in a tough spot when she was coming in our doors. So her and her husband came into her private room. She gets fitted, and all of a sudden, like, something just clicked in here. This spark just returned to her eyes. And I found the perfect wig for her, and she just kind of waltzed out the door to go see herself in natural sunlight. Her husband stayed back with me in the hallway. And this stoic man who wasn't saying much, he was just kind of quiet support. He all of a sudden broke into tears. And he just hugged me and he said, I cannot thank you enough. I have not seen her smile in months. There's nothing to smile about. But this is what's making her happy. And he just poured his heart out. And so, you know, you think of it as, what's the big deal about a wig? What's the big deal about a wig stand? This is the stuff that lets people know that they're not alone. It gives them that hope. It gives them that spark to keep on going. And so it's really a beautiful thing. Any ways that you help out the cancer community or anything else that you're doing to help out anyone in need, it's just an awesome thing to be able to use your talents in that kind of a way. And that's what I love about this organization. We're a dream it, do it kind of place. And you guys are obviously dream it, do it kind of people. So I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing. Any questions?
Okay, no questions? You want to say a few words about what people might be able to do if they want to support the mission, or if they don't have work thing, either
Yeah, another idea.
theory.
We do have an annual fundraising gala. We just had that in May. And that raised $130,000 in support for us, which is almost half of our annual revenue. And so we have a silent auction, live auction, things like that. Which the handmade things go really well. Our people love being a part of that. And it's not just our attendees that can bid on it, it's nationwide. So it's open to whoever wants to get online and bid on it. So if there's anything like that, that would be an idea. One thought that I have was to have kind of like a prayer jar or like a some kind of a box where people could put in their, like their inspirational quotes or Bible verses or things that might help them stay positive. If there was any kind of a way to give each person like a vessel that they could fill it with kind of those empowering, inspirational thoughts. That's one idea that I had. And if there's anything else that you can think of that might be a way to lift spirits, I am always open to it because it's those personal touches that really mean so much. They know when it's the handmade blanket, they know when it's the woodworking, they get that it's someone caring about them and it's extra impactful. Yep. Any other questions? Yes.
Do we, if we want to make some of these wig stands, do we have the specs on that? Do we have that? I
If we drop the
I've been
ball,
around, so I don't know.
you can find, we haven't really published anything.
I think it's online.
I think it is.
Yeah, AEW has it. We did this a few years back. I know that. And I'm sure AEW has it.
All right.
Yeah, I would turn has some specs on it too. they're supposed to be between 14 and 16 inches high. The top approximately 6 to 6.5 inches, the bottom 7 inches. If that helps.
The other thing about this, a lot of times you have these foam wigs, standing foam heads that look just creepy and scary. To be honest, and so we always try to like turn them, make them look nice. This way, it gives it a classy, higher end feel when people walk in. It just elevates the space. So we use it for display, and then we'll also be giving it to people to take home. And what you can't really put it on, we give like a stand that they can put it on for drying. People can't keep it on there or it gets it all misshapen. So this is perfect because it's not going to change the formatting of the wig and the size of it. So it's a beautiful thing that people can take home and just keep it on their nightstand to know that they're cared about.
I lost my hair, I need a wig.
I can hook you up. You may not like the style that I choose. All right.
Daughters, I pulled my hair.
Yeah, Jay, go ahead.
There's also I don't know where I saw it now, there's so many things, but you can take those wig stands and put, hooks on the bottom side. And then when everything is hunky-dory for the woman, she can use that as a necklace stand.
Ah,
So
Level
I think
purpose.
that was a pretty good idea. And then it just goes on the underside, so that's just another little.
And a concave bottom to put your earrings or whatever in.
beautiful.
All right,
Thank you all.
yeah, thanks. I'll do my best to get a link to the plans or specs published in the newsletter. Bob, are you ready to go? Bob, are you here?
Here, I'm across the street, got a drink.
All right, so my next guest needs no introduction. Bob's been part of the Milwaukee area wood turners for several years. Lives south of the state line. We were trying not to hold that against him since he volunteered to do a demo for us. And Bob, you're up. Are you wired? You need to get wired. Could have a couple of jokes to tell here in the meantime. Oh, yeah.
Here.
So we're always looking for somebody to be involved with the club. He's like to see on the board. Feel free to talk to me, let me know. So if there's something about the way you do things that you don't like, feel free to let us know, because we're always looking for new board members. So.
That was a joke.
All right, Bob Leonard, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I have to start out by saying that I got 5 years on our current president, but if you ask me to step down, I will step down. I'll be out there. I put down wood turning in late 2000, 2008, 9, I was going up to the campground in Mesa, Arizona, and trying to wood shop out there, and I saw the guys on the 5 blades they had up there. I tried to use tables off from I thought I could try that, and I did. It's lack of wood out in the western states, so you know, a lot of good looks, a lot of secondhand pieces, not anywhere near what I see here. But so I cobbled together my first hunk of wood, glued together and put on the lathe, and I was successful. I was at gaps, I could stick my finger to the gaps, whatever. So you know, I went to my second, and my second one, the third one blew up. So it gets this way. I kept on going. In that amount of time, when I came home and bought a Powermatic, went through a couple of ways first, and put the biggest pieces in there that I could. Big gigantic pieces that I still have on display. If I made it from my house, I would give them right now. And I, from the get-go, I just never wanted to, make pieces or take it to the store or take it to the fair and sell it, because it wasn't my medium, so I experiment and all the different things, but, last year coming fall, and, it's springtime, we had a storm, and I went over a townhouse section, and we had applewood trees that came down, applewood has beautiful range, so can you pick up on the where it can be? I can go over, look up there, it is, okay. Beautiful grain gyrations on it. I talked to my, association president, I have some of that. Covered right away and made beautiful. I call these slipper poles because the pith is in them. Everybody said you can, you gotta start with a big amount of wood. Tell it to the pith or it's gonna crack and break. Well, I found is that if you, cut it on the way, right away, and I come down to your final thickness. Right away, that pith can be, less thin, it doesn't always work. But, on the inside, it's still integral. And, but, if I put this on the lathe, it, it dried the way wood dries, strings from the outside first. But, it, gives something to work with, and it just, for me, having a little side business and, a wife and a honey, I put pieces on the lathe, if I want to get them on the lathe and do something, and I get them off, so I just got hung up on doing what I call these slipper holes. As it turned out, so as I found out later, this wood that I harvested, had such good character because the wood, was rotten, that's why it broke, and this is actually disease all the way around here. Some of the pieces that weren't diseased, it's got a smaller, early wood, to the hardwood in the center. And it's just, so it's a lot of fun to put it on the lathe and come up with something and be able to finish it. I don't like, sanding, I don't think any of us do. But, here was a half of a log, that had completely rotted out. There was a log, and was completely rotted out. This was the pith, the top was off, but, I put it in there. It's cracked, but it's serviceable. Some of the early wood, I cut lengths of it and then made, some bowls like this. Of course, the pith went right straight through the center, so it cracked, but epoxy and instant coffee ground up and mixed in the epoxy made made it all one piece again. So anyway, unfortunately, we haven't had any bad storms in the neighborhood. They haven't been able to harvest any fresh crabapple wood. But I think I found a piece that's still got a little of the early wood in it and the heartwood in the center, a little bit of character. It's funny, once you hit it with the finish, how it'll pop the grain and make something distinctive. So the first thing, I don't know if I can draw this and do a good job, but your log there, and you got some nice grain serrations here. You got the pith right in the center. I'm going to put the whole piece on the lathe, and I want to put a tenon on the bottom. So I'll grab it with the life center in the back, and I got several different ways of securing the front edge. We're going to do it just opposite, but I want to end up, this is the pith, and I selected a piece that has a grade. In the design books, they say that you should always have your center of your wood always centered and even margins. Well, tree limbs don't grow like that. It's always centered one way or another. So, I'm gonna peel away. I'm gonna peel away and put a tenon on there. And then reverse it. The thing you have to remember. Well, just about everything, anybody that does any training for a while, you always start backwards, you always start. This is gonna be our finish side. So you wanna carve away on the back side, put a tenon on there. So you gotta start backward, couple different ways, of holding the piece. My formula, and I think I saw this in AEW, I don't know when or where, but something small like this. In order to make what I call slipper bowls, the best ratio is 4 inches in diameter, 6 inches in diameter, but 1.5 times the length. So 4 inches here, equals 6 or a little bit more than 6. And that gives you the elongated rather than just a round piece like this. So with that in mind, I found that I had more character up here on both sides, so I drilled a hole. Now this is, you can use a woodworm. This is from One Way. I can put this in and clamp it on my 4-jaw chuck and bring the live center up behind it. There's another way, I think this used to be called the elbow. I don't know how many guys have a attachment like this. But I think it was from Canada and they had trouble coming across the border with them. I think the guy in Texas that makes, did I say something funny?
No, I said it looks like a weapon, maybe that's why it couldn't come up.
I think it would be, yeah. I think it would be. But anyway, it's the guy that works with Cindy Trusta from Texas. I think he imports these now and sells them. And it gives you a lot of discretion because you want to end up with the height on your bowl. You want it equal on both sides, and in the middle you want it equal. You don't want it off centered one side higher than the other. So this gives a lot of leeway. So if you want to see me make a full OSF, I'll try this one first.
Hey, Tom. Oh.
I already drilled a hole this diameter. I think it's 5/16. This is 6 inches, so 3 inches in from either side. But like I say, we don't want to chuck it up there and have one side like this and the other side like that. So with this particular setup is that we can unwind these, and I put some pretty big pieces in, and they haven't come loose. We have a lot of variance, and I can go back and forth, so I get even weight on both sides. I'm going to take a look at it and see if I'm looking right through the center of the pith and the center line of the lathe. But I can see right now, we are on overhead. You can use your tool rest as a guide here. And I can see that I'm hitting. So I want you I got a robust now, so it's a little bit different. So like I say, we want to be equidistant on both the top edges of the bowl. We're close, we're not exact. I'm gonna look again and draw an imaginary line through the pith and, looks like a little. We're not even on the bottom side, but we're gonna pare this all the way. I found out when I first started with this. That while you're paring away. You're making a rounded edge. I don't think it looks good. I've gone to almost coming down at a straight angle rather than making a belly here. Almost a straight angle to the riser. And it seems to get a little bit better. You know, this is the opposite end where I create a big belly. It's unique. I don't like this, but I brought it down here to display my failures along with my ideas. If I can find my. Do you have any questions so far from what I put everybody to sleep already? It's warmer down here than I came prepared with my training jacket. I thought that it was gonna be cooler down here, like my basement of the house, but it's definitely not. That sounds still okay, I guess it is. The speed is turned all the way down. We'll start slowly. It's not that big of a piece. We don't have to worry a whole lot about imbalance. If you had real thick bark, you might want to chisel or pare away the bark so that your live center is in contact with either the heartwood or the early wood, so that you're not just you don't want this flying apart and breaking on you. So the tool is gonna be here, and so I'm gonna screw these dangly little screws, but they don't come. I've had some heavy pieces and out of balance pieces. They don't break. They don't. I can screw that in there, and I got an Allen wrench. I can actually bore it into the wood, and this is going to be the hollow of the bowl when it's finished. So it doesn't matter that I'm defacing that face. You got to catch it, man. Robust lady, gotta have robust turning tools. So I'm gonna be hacking away here for a second, but not communicating too much. I can't walk and talk at the same time, so. What I want to do is pare away, get the outside roughed up, and then start working towards the tenons. Always cut off your lathe when you're moving your tool rest. It's not my lathe, so it's okay. as you see, I'm going on almost at a straight angle and, it looks like we got even wood on both sides. So when I get to the top here, we're gonna be, fairly close. And as always, it's, when you're working on the outside of the bowl, you start in a smaller diameter and work your way out. If you work your way in, you can do it for roughing, but you're gonna have a lot of tear out because you're going uphill against the grain. You need a lot of tear out. Right now, even roughing, that's, no, it's not finished, but it's smoother, but there's no real tear out. Stuart Batty says, and he'll be down in Turn On Chicago, Stuart Batty says, 1,000 RPM and less, your pizza is gonna go down. Over 1,000 RPM, it tends to go up. So I push a point, I'm at 1,200. There's a lot of air when I get out to the wings. Now what I'm looking for here is I'm gonna pare away a lot of the wood here, but I want to get the bark, right at the halfway point here, when I'm coming up on this, so that and I think it's probably been discussed before, but if your wood was harvested in December, January, February, before the juices start coming up the tree, you stand a chance that the bark may stay on there. If you harvest wood in spring, summer, fall, before it starts going the other direction, it's going to peel off, and this is going to peel right off. Most of this wood here, that kept this bark. But so, like I said, if you're out harvesting wood for natural edges, it's best to get the wood in February, January, February. Not always possible. You can, if the bark does come off, you can always use a little artist medium and dabble, not paint, but what do you call that?
CA.
Pardon?
CA.
No, the coloring, that for making paintings where you got the relief on it, you dabble the paint on there.
Oh,
Once I get to the point where there's a lot of air, then there's a lot of bounce, so you gotta slow down and take it easy. Let your tool control the wood. Okay, this is what I was talking about before. It's paired off here, but we got a lot of bark still showing on this side. And the nice thing about something like this is that I can back this off. Maybe not. And I want to, this edge here, I want to bring in this direction so I can carve away here and not take any more off this side. Let me see if I can. Okay, we're loose on that side anyway, so without losing everything. This is hit and miss. Okay. And we got bark halfway up here. Got bark halfway, a little bit less than halfway up here, but we're close. Now I'm gonna pare down and figure out where I'm gonna put my tenon. This is a little bit smaller in diameter than we need 2.5 or 3. I think we got enough. We still got the pits in the center. When I do the inside with a thinner wall, it'll still show nicely. I pare this down, but I like to keep it 1 inch. When I come in here, if I keep, I can keep that center point for redoing the backside if I got 1 inch diameter opening here. We'll see if we can keep it without losing it. I like using a stronghold chuck. I got the other ones too, but I like the grooves here with a straight tenon instead of a V tenon. It'll grab, and it doesn't have to be the exact radius to get good contact. It doesn't seem to work its way out. There's more different ideas on that than who we should have for president, but hopefully we got enough there to, okay, we got it paired out. I'm going like straight out rather than the belly. We got bark on both sides halfway up. So far we're doing pretty good. Any questions of where I'm at with this right now? Easy problem. I'm gonna pair away a little bit more. I like to have a base on my pieces. This was once the town. If we can see that here. Oh, you're over.
Go back, you can go back. You're right by the lathe.
Okay. So this was a tenon on here, and then I paired it off when I finished it. But I like the bolt to stand off a little bit rather than just coming around on the radius all the way down to the bottom on a flat base. Some are more pronounced than other ones. Do we have a knockout rate, Rod?
It's hanging on this end of the lane.
Oh my God. I've looked. Well, I like this because you have all that versatility to make changes. If you put the woodwork in there, like that comes with your lathe. You put the woodworm in your chuck. You're pretty, however you bore that hole, you're pretty much solid in there. You're not gonna make changes in latitude and, yeah.
Have you ever tried this turn between center?
I have, but a lot of times, if you got thick bark, once you tear that off. Yes, that's, and then a lot of times, I like doing wet wood. I like, doing wet wood, if you, even with the grippers of the multi-serrated, drive centers, it'll spin, and then you're going deeper, and sometimes, if I do this without where
That's what you got. That's what you got now. That's what you got now. That's,
yeah.
okay, that should be maybe a little tighter. Okay,
When I tighten up my 4-jaw chuck, I like to, oh boy, it's got enough in there. That little stub is, getting caught in the center. I think I can find, I like to, keep the grain orientation in line with one of the grooves in the 4 jaws. So when I put it back on, a lot of times I go to the number 1. And I'll put a mark on there, so if I take it off, so I can put it back on. Could have taken a little bit more off of that tenon. I like to keep that tenon on there, and then I can, when I go to perfect the bottom, then I can, use the light center to get me centered. Of course, always rotate it before you turn the lathe on. Well, like I said, on the outside, I started a smaller diameter to work my way out. On the inside, I'm gonna do just the opposite. I'm gonna work towards the center. And I want to take wood off and leave, when I start to get into my wall thickness, I want to leave enough behind it, because we just got wings that are floating in, we just have wings that are floating in the air here. And I like to turn thin. I may not turn as thin as I like to, because trying to talk and turn at the same time could cause a problem. So I want to take some of the bulk of the wood off here, but I still haven't, I got a 3/4 of an inch. You gotta watch that, area there like a propeller, you don't lose a finger. But I'm leaving, I'm just removing some wood here to get the bulk before I start getting down to my final thickness, and then I'll keep working both inside and outside so that I have some bulk behind it, because, especially if you're doing wet wood, it gets very, very flexible. A lot of air there, so a lot of bounce. You start seeing like some of the color of that heartwood.
What was that?
Oh, you can see it. Oh, you see it better than I do. Nice part about this is that, it's hard for you to see it, but I see a ghost image and I can pretty much see my wall thickness as I'm going down here. It doesn't always work, and I always tend to then, I get my wall thickness where I want it out here, and I'll take a little bit too much on the inside and try to come back out, and you'll hear the squall of, it doesn't like when it's not being supported. We're still good and solid here, so I'm gonna start tearing down the inside. We lost some of our bark peeled off here, but we still got some more. This isn't wet, and there's a lot of, you can see the worm damage in here already, so it's starting to get lost that bright white early wood that is so distinctive. But they won't allow me to get around the neighborhood with a chainsaw and take fresh limbs down. They're pretty, not very understanding about it. I just can't understand this.
Gotta get a quieter chainsaw.
Yeah.
Oh, I got numerous chainsaws. So let me see if I can pare this down without making a big boo-boo. And once again, I mean, it's got a dangerous situation here. If you're trying to hold the tool on the other side of the tool rest, you're living dangerously. I mean, you got literally helicopter blades sitting there, airplane propeller blades sitting there. So you want to keep your fingers behind. A lot of air. Oh, they want the bark.
Oh.
Well, it's gonna go anyway. But like I say, it's right now you can see I can flex this, so we're not gonna pay too much attention here. Right the bevel. Well, I got that far without breaking it. Yeah, I put my finger on the outside and you can feel it flex, I really enjoy, I mean, this is super dry wood. But I really enjoy doing wet wood and, on the wall behind my lathe at home, you know, I got a big sheet of, thin plywood and it's just streaks and it'll come across the face shield, but, this isn't wet, so. All right, we got it thin enough here for now. I can turn it thinner, but I won't. 86 years old, I don't wanna. Well, it sounds like my truck. As you see, I'm doing all my cutting at 1 o'clock. If this is high noon. Come back on my close up again. You know, if this was high noon, I'm doing my cutting at 1 o'clock. I could go out on the wings. I guarantee you if I went out on at 9 o'clock and started pulling this way, one of you would be wearing half of this piece here because you know, if I was making my this absent, if I was making my cutout on that wing, well, there's no support under it. When I'm right here at 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock, I got metal against the tool rest. And it helps firm it up. The farther away you get, but especially if you're coming out from here, if you're at 9 o'clock, I mean, any little imperfection and it would come apart. Ask me how I know. I said earlier, I learned that this woodworking shop out in Mesa, Arizona, and they had 5 lathes out there, and you know, I was anxious to get on the lathe, and the chief would sit back at his desk with a couple of his cronies, and boy, if you screwed up, they would sit and laugh. Yeah. And so we come and help you. We had a retired shop teacher. Well, you come and help. Oh, he'd finish the whole damn thing. And you see what I'm doing? You see what? Yeah, I see it. Let me do it. But through blunders and whatever, and you know, got through it. I think I got ahead of myself. Usually, you know, I got tiny little grooves that you can see here. There's no way to, with air and then the contact in the air, that you're going to be perfect, at least not in my book. I'm gonna try this. This may not work, but a negative rake scraper. I should have done the outside before I went farther, thinning the wall farther in. I'm gonna try this, and it may not work. It may. Light touch, negative rake scraper. Sharpen the bottom edge last because that leaves a burr on the very top edge, and that's actually going to be doing your cutting. And I'm not taking a lot of wood, especially when I get farther out here. I'm not taking a lot of wood. I'm just trying to get those views. I didn't bring any sandpaper, so you're not going to walk through sand. You can hear how unsupported it is right there. wouldn't take too much to. Not ready for finish, but it's got a decent it doesn't have the grooves as bad. A lot of tear out because there's a lot of punky wood. In here, there's a lot of tear out with the scraper. The gouge does far better. I don't know if you can see how much I can move that wing. So I'm gonna go down here a little bit farther, Tony, do we wanna take a break or?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe when you turned it around, but if you wanna take a break. you can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, let me go a little bit farther and we'll take a break and then, if you want, I can show you how to finish this off, and not using a jam chuck, using, a frugal vacuum chuck. I turned down the $500 fee for showing here, just so I can say frugal vacuum chuck. Not really. But anyway, let me take a couple more cuts here, we can take a break, and I'll be here to answer questions and set myself up, and the vacuum trucking won't take long, so we won't tie you up the whole night. I think we're actually ahead of schedule. I thought the wood sands were gonna take more time. I was still.
Well, we wanted to see what you got.
Okay, right now, if I started it up, I moved this around while I was talking. And we would have lost it. If you got a curved tool rest, that's nice, but with modern tools, you got enough support there that you can overhang the tool rest some. Let me take some more meat off here. And then we got more bark showing here because it's coming at an angle instead of right angles, but we're pretty much even thickness. Let me do some chewing up, and I'm not going to. I didn't bring a depth gauge with me, so I'm not going to get too fancy here. By rights, according to the common teachings right now, I should be using, instead of the swept back wings, I should be using a gallon just straight up and down, so I can keep good contact while I'm coming around the bottom. But, how many tools can you bring, When you're using the scraper, even a negative rake scraper, you should be, going straight in. That's better now. If this was a straight scraper and you weren't holding it at a downward angle, you'd get bad catches, but with the negative rake, that second bevel there, you can a little bit more lenient. Even as dry, this is all solid wood in here. But you can hear the bounce, even that this piece is dry, it's releasing tensions, and there's bounce because it's spreading, forming its own where it wants to be. One more cut here, we can No support. It's not sad, it's not too bad. Being being that I'm lazy and I don't like sanding, well, I would sand this, but my finish. It's healthy to have arthritis. I found this, I tried lacquer from Home Depot and Menards and the water spots, and it doesn't look good. I don't know what they don't say what the medium is here, but this Rust-Oleum ultra cover gloss clear. It works, and if you get it wet, it doesn't. I just want to show you how it pops the grain. Now, if we had some good whitewood on the outside, it would really make a good contrast. It's real porous. Like I said, this is not had too many coats here, but you can see how that pops the grain. Any questions? And I guess we can take a break and come back, and anybody who wants to see a vacuum truck in operation.
It's going to be going again 8 o'clock. I did have one announcement I forgot, and that is our librarian isn't here this evening. If you brought something you want to turn in, you can give that to me. I'll make sure it gets put back in the number. Remind them of the drop boxes out here. For library return. Yeah, you can always drop a library return in the drop box out here that's marked MAWC. You can also drop your return from troops bin and make your action. All right.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you for all coming back. I didn't know we lose everybody, but I put them all to sleep, or if they had enough rest that they.
When it stopped, when it stopped recording,
When you turn it,
then,
you stress in it. And you would completely dry.
went way down,
There's no such thing as a perfect contact.
unless they walked away from the mic.
Of my piece here.
But he had one
Truck,
here.
Yeah,
keep the lights on up there.
If somebody turned it off, yeah.
Cold jaws on there. There's no way in the world that cold jaws are gonna hold something like this.
But that's how I turn mine.
Once you make your cut, there's no such thing.
I'd like to watch you do one.
I don't know if we can.
You'd like to watch me do that.
See how much that,
Yeah, I would.
hitting on the outboard sides of the piece here, but not on the inboard side.
You want me to make you a cup?
On the vacuum truck, what I have here, and I've done demonstrations here before in the vacuum truck, but it's been quite a few years. A lot of people have had, bought my vacuum trucks, the typical vacuumtruck.com. Good chicks. But anyway, I started with the old rescuing pumps out of oxygen concentrators and rebuilding them and selling them, but they dried up with COVID, and then right now I'm outsourcing, buying them from China, and 500 at a crack to get a decent crack on the shipping and everything, but the pumps are made in China, and right now the Thomas pumps for the oxygen concentrators are made in China, so it's a no, so it's a matter of being able to buy enough. When I bought my first one from a distributor in China, the shipping was 1.5 times what the pump was, so you can't do individual ones. It just it doesn't work out. You gotta order big quantities, but anyway, with a pump like this, it'll pull 27 inches of vacuum if I can find my switch. I don't know if you can see that. Does this show up at all? Yeah. The vacuum gauge is always being reversed because we're actually pulling the vacuum. But with it turned off, it'd be zero. There's a little residual loss through the line. But fully engaged here, we're pulling 20, 25, 26 inches of vacuum. Perfect vacuum is 30 inches plus or minus atmospheric pressure, and column of air that's holding us down here. So with the normal with the normal 4-inch chuck, this is schedule. This is 3-inch schedule 40. It's called 3-inch because that's the size of a piece that goes in there. It's 4 inches OD. With 24, 25 inches of vacuum, that'll give 150 pounds holding on there. So that means that you don't have to keep the life center on your piece once you have it pulled in and tight. So I'm gonna go forward, and I worked hard to retain my little divot from when I was roughing the outside up. So I'm gonna pull this life center up. And pick the right one. I guess I did. I'm going to even though I bought a smaller well, I didn't put enough somebody come up here and tell me what you feel on the outside here. Feel the vacuum? Yeah, right through the pit. The pit here is cracked, and it's well, it's gonna be touch and go because I got half the holding power that I should. So we made bounces off the lathe. Yeah.
Does your vacuum gauge show what's going on?
Does my vacuum gauge show up?
Does the vacuum gauge show what's going on right now with the loss?
Yeah, it's showing right now.
Okay.
14 inches, and that's I got another one. I got another one that's a little better sealed. Of course, at home I got my vacuum pump and everything right in front of me. So I knew there was a reason I brought it back up.
What could you do? Could you put like duct tape or something on the inside, a couple layers? Would that do it or not?
Well, I could I would mix up some epoxy with coffee, not coffee grounds, but instant coffee ground up, mix up a color to put in there to seal it. It's what I did on this piece, but just because the pit went right through the center and it cracked so bad and cracked straight up the bowl here. But epoxy or CA with the coffee, instant coffee ground up real fine, makes a nice contrasting color for filling gaps and voids and whatever. I think we should do better now. I can find my. Yeah, there we go. We're pulling 20. We're pulling the same things when I put my finger over the hose on the inside. And, right now the light center's not holding anything. Just to prove it, I'll pull the light center away. I'll keep it there so I can hit my elbow. It's hell to be a perfectionist, even though I'm not. Now, there's nothing holding this on except the vacuum. Like I said, I got 150 pounds holding that on there. if the person was to sit here and apply even pressure going outward, you wouldn't, unless you could deadlift 150 pounds, you wouldn't pull it off. You can pull it off by snapping it to the side because you're introducing a small little leak in there. Uh, I didn't save the nubbin and I just ground that nubbin down and didn't have good registration on it. I just made a crosshatch. So we're not round. We're a little bit out of round. It doesn't matter because we're pulling off the bottom and it's an area where unless you have a micrometer or a full gouge, you're not gonna see it. Nice part about the vacuum pump is that, if you're making a funnel, all of a sudden you'll see the vacuum gauge going down. But, guys, I tell people to keep the pump full, so I always said that, well, at my house, I always keep it here, and a lot of people put it up on a shelf. And you can hear it, it'll change, intensity with lowered vacuum, I'll show you a little bit later, when I do another part of demonstration, but, unfortunately, I don't know how much material I'm working with here, so we may make a fun of. So right now I'm gonna do what was my cannon, I'm gonna tear that off and make that my foot. So even though we started with a bowl that had straight edges going out, this is gonna round off the bottom a little bit, then we got a little bit of character that we could put on there. If I don't go through the. So as you see, this is a number perfection, and I'm not gonna sand it for you. I don't know how much thickness I have there, so I'm not gonna go too much farther. If I had real wet wood, when I get down to a 3/16 wall, it'll actually, with that much vacuum, it'll start sucking in. At that point, you can relieve some of this from the vacuum, and that's what I'm saying, while you're turning, you're not gonna be watching that vacuum gauge, but if you start hearing a hiss, so that good solid sound, you better take a look at your center here, and you might be losing it. But another purpose for that is that after you finish perfecting your foot, is that you can so convenient. It's got flappers. Let's go down to the 10 inches, I guess, right now. We'll find it not well, but if it's power, we can still spin off the way. What you can't do with your cold draws and a lot of other mediums is that, let's say you finish off the bottom of your piece, and now I can flip this around. I can sand. I can do wipe on poly. I can protect everything and spray while it's turning slowly. It's a lot of versatility. You can't do that with, you say so much time. My great number of sales I make on the vacuum pumps, I sell them all over the country. I got a set of bearings right now going to Korea. The guy actually wrote me in Korean with artificial intelligence. It came to me in English. I don't know, he's back in countries. I don't know a lick of English, of course, I don't know the lick of Korean, but he got it done. It's not in the mail for 3 weeks, it's still not delivered, so that's typical of overseas shipping. But you know, you can reach out the football, that's like it. It's it just saves a lot of time and
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm sorry, I'll repeat it all. I can't remember. I can't remember what I said. This is just ordinary plumbing, that I've turned a nice smooth edge on it, actually used craft foam, that's from Hobby, this is from Walmart, 50 sheets for just under $6. You can also get it with one side sticky. The trouble one side sticky is that once it sticks, you gotta use a scraper to get it off. This will pull off. I actually use, if I can find it, contact cement on just a normal color piece. But put contact cement on there, let it dry, and put your piece down on it, let it set for an hour, and then you're good to go. And when you're finished, you can just peel it off. You might have to scrape a little bit, but it's not so bad. Other than that, you can with the vacuum chuck, you can put a square piece over there, double over the edges, and put tape around it. People try to seal all the surface, but you don't have to, because your seal is right against your medium against the PVC. If you get this particular foam, and it's closed cell, don't go don't go buy mattress padding or whatever, which is open cell. I was in Walmart a long time ago, and I saw some exercise pads, which are real thick. I said, boy, that's really good for a really warped piece to pull it in. But I was in a Walmart, and so I took it around the end cap, and I went to blow it, and the lady came around and said, "You're not eating that, are you?" Wasn't worth explaining, but if you go to boy, getting destroyed with all too much stuff around. You go to Hobby Lobby, and they have this is 2 millimeter thick, just under 1/16. This is 5 millimeter. You can get 12 by 18 sheets, and you can cut your foamies out. You know, for pieces that are badly warped. You can also, if you're not pulling in a piece, you can just punch with the pencil point, just punch a little hole in there and hold this up there, and then you got double the thickness, for pulling it in. I didn't square it off or anything, but you don't have to have it glued down. As long as you have a pencil hole in the middle there. If you don't, oil cans, it'll pop. Any more questions about this? I think that I'm pretty much finished here. We do right through the website. Frugal vacuum chuck.com. The pumps are 270, 15 shipping, the regular, 4-inch OD, with the threads on it. For the Powermatic or the 1-inch lathe, that is 60, ships free if you order them both together. To save me bouncing these up the stairs, I say this is 270 plus 15 shipping, I'll sell it for 260, no shipping and no other charges. And it's still 60 for, I got one of each, that's all I got I will have more at Turn On Chicago, we're gonna have, about 20 of them, but they're gonna sell for 270. They're gonna sell for 270, no shipping at Turn On Chicago. And then I'll be partnering with Odd Knot, which makes aluminum vacuum cups. Not my vacuum cups, so we sometimes work together when we're talking to each other. Other times we're not, but I'll be down there in the vendor booth. Any more questions? I guess we're done.
Well, that's our meeting for tonight. We're not gonna have a wood raffle. So if anybody wants to help sweep up here, it certainly would be appreciated. You need help throwing this stuff up?
No, if I can get all, well, I might bounce up the stairs, but I brought my neighbor with me.
Oh,
He didn't know that when he volunteered to come along. Yeah.
and this is your chance. I mean, if you've ever wanted a vacuum pump, I've got one. I'll tell you what, it makes life a lot easier. Flipping those bowls around. Oh, all right. Thanks, everybody. Hope to see you next month.